Well, it is 6 o'clock, so let's go ahead and jump in. And I'm sure some other people will start joining us. But thank you all so much for jumping on. We know that this is such a unique time this year. And let me be the first to say that Dave and I are just as brokenhearted, if not more so, than all of you that we cannot be with you in person this year. Obviously, this was not our first pick. It's out of our control. But we're so thankful that our amazing instructors all jumped to the challenge when we said, we can't have the camps in person. Are you open to putting together some kind of virtual opportunity? And they all said, yes, and we'll make it awesome. So thank you to our amazing instructors. And Dave and I are so excited to be able to still offer this option to you. So for those of you that might be joining this evening that maybe don't know Dave and myself, if maybe you've just received an email from us and you were just joining, I'm Kelly Rappling. I'm the LYNX Camp coordinator. My role is working mainly running the LYNX camps out of the College of Arts and Media at CU Denver, but I also help Dave with recruitment and enrollment. So full-time job at CU Denver in the College of Arts and Media, mainly running this camp. I also want to give some quick ground rules before we get going. I'll be the one kind of moderating the Zoom tonight, and then I'll pass it over to Dave and he'll introduce himself and kind of give a director's message. So if anyone is unfamiliar with using Zoom, please feel free to type a question in the chat at the bottom. So if you hover your mouse over the screen, there will be some things that'll pop up at the bottom, and there's a chat feature. So you're welcome to type a question in there if you wanted to. I feel like most people are really familiar with Zoom now, but I don't want to make any assumptions. The other thing I wanted to let you know is I, as the host, do have the ability to put people on mute. So if I start hearing noise in your screen, if you were accidentally unmuted, I might mute you. But if you wouldn't mind just keeping your microphone on mute, if you're not the person talking, that would be helpful. Another thing is there is a gallery view if you don't want Dave or myself to be really large on your screen. If you want to see maybe some of your friends from LYNX Camp, if you hover your mouse on the top right side, there's speaker view and gallery view. And you can switch to gallery view, which will allow you to have kind of that Brady Bunch, tiny small boxes all around. And then you can see friends of yours from LYNX Camp. Quick agenda. So Dave and I are going to chat with you for about 15 more minutes, just giving you an update on the camp. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to go over some specifics about the new program, how much they cost, what we're offering, and really important details about how to register or re-register for those camps, talk about scholarships and things like that. Then we're going to pass it over to the instructors that are able to join us this evening, because they're really the amazing individuals, our heroes that are making this be so wonderful online this summer. So we're going to let them talk for just a really short amount of time about their program. Keeping in mind, this is not the intro to that class. If you're already registered for one of those camps, you're going to have a more in-depth discussion with them before camp starts. They're just going to give an overview. So if you were unsure of if it would be a good fit for you or not, then you get a better feel for that. And then we'll end with your question and answer. So we'll definitely leave about 20 minutes at the end for you to just ask the questions that you need. The way we're going to do questions is through the chat feature. So if you have a question, just go ahead and type it in the chat. Honestly, you can do it whenever you want. Keeping in mind, some of the questions might get answered here in the next 30 minutes or so, but if you want to put a question in the chat, you're welcome to, and Dave and I will moderate those. All right, that's enough from me. I'm going to pass it over to Dave, and he will introduce himself.
Hey everyone, my name is Dave Walter. I'm the Director of Enrollment Management for the College of Arts and Media, and also direct the LYNX National Arts and Media Camps. And for those of you, just real quick, that this is your first time hearing about the LYNX Camps, or as a refresher, we've been offering the LYNX National Arts and Media Camps out of the CU Denver's College of Arts and Media for, this will be our 7th summer of running camps. And this summer, we were expecting about 300 students at our camps, across 8 programs. The camps have really, they've taken off. They've grown every year. We get so much great feedback from the students about what the camps have meant to them, how they prepared them for college. I love hearing the stories about the friends that students have made and the collaborations that students have at the camps that sometimes last years and years later. Which is one of the really special things about summer camps. And, one thing that we always hear from the students is at the LYNX camp is, I found my people, and that's a really important thing for high school students that are kind of, trying to figure out what they want to do. And especially in the arts, sometimes people can get persuaded, not to look at this, or, pushed out different ways, but to really get around your people, the people that really understand you and are as passionate about the same things as you. And then to have professionals that are teaching you and talking to you about what it's really like out there in the industry. In addition to college students that usually work at the camp and kind of give you that perspective as well. There's really nothing like summer camps. So we feel like the LYNX camps have become a really special thing. And as Kelly mentioned, that's why it was so heartbreaking to have to get to that point with the pandemic going on, where, we put the decision off as a while. We were really hoping that, maybe things would improve and we would get to a point where, we could get together this summer. And then a couple of weeks ago, CU Denver made the decision to stop all, that there wouldn't be any activities on campus through the end of July. And that made the decision for us. We were at that point, pretty much moving that way anyways, because the pandemic hasn't been letting up, unfortunately. But it made it official. And even before that, Kelly and I kind of toyed around with the idea. I remember one meeting we had, and we first thought of, like, could we do like online camps? It's something that we had never really had to consider before. And we're kind of, well, yeah, I suppose we probably could. I don't know, let's see what the instructors would think about that. And so we ran it by a few of our instructors, and that's what sold it for Kelly and I, is because the instructors really came to us and they were like, yeah, we could do some really cool stuff online. It wasn't like an attitude like, oh, I guess, I don't know if I have to, maybe I could make it work. It was really a positive, upbeat attitude that we really saw from the faculty, and really kind of wanting to make it work. As much as it was a bummer to not have the camps on campus, it would be an even bigger bummer to not have any camps at all. So once we started working with the faculty and got to hear their perspective and ideas about ways they could make the camps really cool, we got on board and we're like, yeah, let's do this. Let's go for it. And we at first were also thinking like maybe a few of the camps, and then we kept talking to more and more instructors, and every single one of them was like, yeah, let's do this. I can do this. So all of our 8 programs are still going on this summer online. Of course, the curriculum's been changed a little bit, and they'll look a little different. But one thing that was really important to Kelly and I is we don't want these to be like online classes. I know your students are doing, most of them online classes right now through their schools. And as the parent of a first grader, I can attest to some of them go better than others. Some is really engaging and cool, and some is like, I don't know if this is even worth your time. It's kind of, my daughter gets bored with some things. We really wanted these to not feel like classes. We wanted to keep the camp feel and make them really engaging, make them project-based, so the students are doing some stuff and then getting back together and discussing. And still a lot of what the students have always said that they love about the LYNX camps, we want to keep that in this format. Or if we weren't able to do that, we weren't going to do it. And we've looked at all the curriculum that the faculty have put together, and across the board, they're fantastic. They're going to be really cool. They're going to be engaging. They're going to be fun, and they're going to be educational. The students are going to come away from the camp feeling like they really gained a skill set. And one of the nice things about doing it from home is that because the students are going to be doing this from their home, they're going to be able to keep doing it once the camp is over. Sometimes when they come to the campus and do stuff, they get really used to using our stuff and doing it that way. They go home and think, oh, well, now I can't maybe do it as good. But now the instructors are really setting them up to be able to do it, at their home and do some really cool things. So we're really excited about it. We probably saw this. We brought the cost of the camps down. For most of our one-week camps, they're $400. For our music industry camp, it's $500. And then for the our 1 2-week program is filmmaking. The filmmaking faculty really felt like it worked better in the 2-week format for what they wanted to do. That one's going to be $800. And those are all the prices before any sort of scholarships. For those that did apply for need-based scholarships ahead of time, we're still honoring that and making it work. And I know Kelly's been working with families on an individual basis there. And then we've also had some people that got scholarships for winning like Scholastic Arts Awards and things like that. We're still honoring all of those and making that work as well. So we feel like that they're going to still have a lot of value at the price range we're able to bring them at this summer. And yeah, we're really excited. We hope that, you know, after tonight, your students will be really excited as well. And yeah, we're going to here in a little while, Kelly's going to get into the program's details more, but then we're going to hear from the instructors, which will be really nice.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Okay, yes, I think what will be more fun is hearing from the instructors, but I do want to give an overview just of some details for those of you who have registered and now are trying to decide if you're going to do online, and for those of you who maybe haven't registered before. So what I'm going to do is share my screen of the LYNX Camp website. So this is the LYNX Camp website. Our main page, when you go to the main page, it'll have an update just about the camps. For those of you who have already registered and who have never registered, what is really important is to actually click the hyperlink of the program that you might be interested, program or programs that you might be interested in, because even if you were already registered for this program, we have created a new description. And when I mean we, I mean the instructor. The instructor has created a new description for the class that they're having. So for example, if you were already registered in the 2D animation illustration camp, if you click it, it will open up the new description for you and talk about what you're really going to need in order to be successful to do this at home. So it is really important to still actually go read through these, even if you were registered before. If you've already registered, like re-registered for this camp, and you go back and read the details about it, and you're not sure if it's going to work out, just reach out to me, and then we can reach out to the instructor and kind of piece together if it will work for you or not. The nice thing is, I would say for the majority of these programs, the instructors have tried really hard to just say that what you really need is a computer and internet. There's a few programs that might require you to have a phone or a camera so that you can really get the most out of it, but even some of those, the instructors are trying to be extremely flexible to make it as accessible to all of you as possible. So definitely take a look, but reach out to me if you have any specific questions about those, okay? And things that the instructors will cover tonight. So that's the first thing I wanted to cover, is actually looking at the descriptions of each one. You'll notice that the dates of some of the camps have, excuse me, stayed the same, but the dates of some have changed. So our music industry camp was originally 2 weeks, and we needed to piece it down to just 1 week. So we pieced it down to the second week that it was originally happening. So just keep a note of that for my music industry students. And then the animation camp, the animation motion graphics camp, we pieced down to just 1 week. So that's the first week of the 2 weeks. And the filmmaking camp, our film instructors decided they did want a full 2 weeks with you all, of course, to be able to really put together a fun film from home. So that is still the 2 weeks. So just kind of keep all of those in mind. And then the updated costs reflect, obviously, how long each camp is going to be. And as Dave mentioned, we're really happy that we were able to bring down the cost, but we still need to keep the cost to the level it is, because we're so fortunate to be able to have these individuals who are instructors at our college or professionals in the industry, so that we can pay them for the time that they're doing. Now, if you're interested in actually applying to come to camp, if you've already registered and you're just saying, yep, I still want to do the online, all you need to do is say no, or that you'll say, yes, I filled out an application before and I've already received it from Kelly. Then it's just a really quick, here's my name, here's the program I want to do, good to go. If you've never registered for camp before, I do need you to say, no, this is my first time filling out an application because I need some extra additional information for our data. So that's just something to keep in mind. Another good thing to find on our website is our general FAQs. So anything that we might not cover tonight, then a lot of it will be on this form, which I'm noticing now is maybe not working. We'll cover most of them tonight, and I'll refix all of that for you so you can actually see it. Let me go ahead and stop sharing that. And the only other things I wanted to cover with you all before I pass it off to the instructors were actually a few questions that Dave and I wanted to pose to you all. One thing that we've considered now that we're moving this to online is the fact that 5 programs are being offered during the week of June 8th through the 12th, many of which are visual art programs, that we recognize some of you might be interested in doing more than one, but you don't have the opportunity to do more than one because they're offered at the same time. So we wanted to pose the question, if we were to offer some of these one-week camps, also during the week of July 6th through the 12th, did I do that math right? July 6th through the 12th, would some of you be interested in possibly doing a different program of these 5? Let me reshare my screen so you can see that. So of these 5 right here, especially like mural creation, you know, we recognize there's probably some students who are interested in drawing and painting. So if we were to offer possibly mural creation or 2D animation or comic book again, or just at a different time in July 6th, would you be interested in doing that? So what you can either do is you can either throw in the chat to me that yes, you'd be interested, but I'll also just send out an email later to get kind of a feel from if participants would be interested in that or not. Dave, did you want to add anything else to the dates before I go?
No, I mean, the one thing that we were thinking especially is the mural creation program is so cool. And that's the one program where we haven't got a lot of students to sign up for yet. All the other ones are looking real good for numbers. But that one is just so cool. And Kelly and I are like, we really want this program to go because it's the curriculum that Abby put together is really, really cool. And what we're wondering is if some of the students that signed up for comic book character design or 2D animation would have done that one in addition to those ones if they weren't happening the same week. So we've talked to Abby about possibly pushing the date for that one back a little later. So yeah, definitely if there were any of the students that are doing a different week 1 program that would also be interested in doing mural creation or on this, or families, please let us know in the chat that that's something that would be interesting to you. And if we get enough people that say that, we probably will move the mural creation one further in. And then the other 2 are, you know, 2D animation and comic book character design. We're seeing just a lot of interest in those to the point where we never thought we would say this with the online camps, but I think we may get to a point where we're full on those. And the possibility that we may want to, if the instructors are open to it, consider offering them again a little later in the summer. So we'll see on that. But yeah, that's kind of what we're thinking with those ones.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. And then the only other just quick update that I wanted to give some of you who I know have already re-registered or registered for these virtual camps is even though the dates are showing Monday through Friday, and that is really when the camp will be is Monday through Friday, we are going to have kind of an onboarding or welcome meeting just for an hour or 2 the Sunday before that Monday, because we want you all to be able to just jump in immediately and get the most out of this camp starting immediately on Monday. So we don't have the specific time yet because we're going to do a poll of you all to figure out a time that works best for you. But go ahead, and if you can just pencil in the Sunday before your camp starts on that Monday, just note that there will be a quick Zoom meeting again to get you up to speed on everything you need to know. And we'll also cover, you know, things like downloading the software that you need and everything like that. Oh,
we're thinking maybe either 4:00 p.m. or 6 o'clock, sometime in the evening. And just kind of a quick, like Kelly said, get together, make sure we're all good to go. And then maybe each individual instructor can talk really briefly to their families and just, like I said, go over the kind of software or any requirements from the computer side that they need to make sure that they have ready to go so that the students can just really jump right into things on that Monday.
yeah. Now I would love the expertise of my instructors to share. I would also love the expertise of an instructor who really knows Zoom well. When one of you starts talking, will it move your small icon over, or do they have to search to find where you are? Does anybody know the answer to that question?
It does not move you unless you like mute yourself or not mute you, unless you move yourself or turn to a black square.
Okay, should I make the instructor who's sharing a co-host, Michelle?
I would just leave it like this.
Just like, okay.
A little outline around. Oh, it makes a little line around it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, great. Well, in that case, let's go ahead. I'm just going to go in the order of what's on the website. So we're just going to go ahead and start with our 2D animation illustration, which is Chris Pierce, who I am actually going to make a co-host because I know he wants to share his screen. So welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Kelly. Yeah, I won't share my screen quite yet, but I just wanted to give a little introduction to myself. I'm Chris Pierce. I'm teaching the 2D animation class. I'm an animator who loves working in a studio with other people, and I was a little, lamenting the fact that we were going online. But then what Kelly and Dave were talking about, this idea of building your own sort of home studio, I really have, in a lot of ways, my own home studio, right? I have computers, and it's been a camera stand, and it's really been a part of my work as an animator to build my own tools and to really get involved in the technology in that way. And I thought that this could be a good opportunity to do that. So I've really embraced that and shifted the curriculum for the class around that, even though most of what we're going to be doing is going to happen entirely on a hard drive inside your computer. So is there anything specific that you'd like me to introduce for the class, Kelly and Dave?
No, just yeah. What are some of the things that the students can look forward to learning in your program?
Okay, great. So, well, I'll go ahead and share my screen now, and maybe it'll go full screen for people. I think you might have to leave speaker or return to speaker view or something. We'll see what happens with Zoom, and we'll get this all worked out. So this software here is the Adobe Animate software, and this is the one I really would like to use. And just to even show a little bit of the animation that's possible, what we're going to be doing in the class is 2 projects. And this is just a simple little exercise which we'll cover in a tiny part of the class. But 2 projects. The first starting with animation like this, which is really frame series animation. And the idea is you really work 1 frame at a time, drawing each frame. And we can work, of course, in the computer, we can work with layers, just including 1 element at a time, and really create interesting character animation in that way. And one of the other things that I, was frustrating me a little bit about not being on ground and being online was this idea that I really love having us all as animators work together. So that's the first project we're really going to be doing. I know it might seem strange working together remotely, but we're going to use Google Drive and the cloud to each create a character and actually create 1 large film as a group in the class, using digital communications and this software, each drawing a little sequence, maybe 1 or 2 seconds of animation that actually attach to each other and making 1 film that's over a minute long, which is actually unheard of when you're making animation on your own. In 1 week, it's hard to make something longer than a couple of seconds. But I think even in the first couple of days with that software, we should be able to make work 1 giant piece that's over a minute long in just a couple of days of working together as a group. And that should, bring us together. It'll be great to then, eventually at some time in the future, meet each other and recognize that we all worked on the same animation together. So that's how I'm sort of planning to get started in that respect. One other piece of technology, this is kind of an old one, but this idea of having a pen tablet attached to your computer, this is really important for illustrating and doing hand-drawn animation. It can be done with a mouse, but I would definitely not try to use the trackpad on a laptop. So those are part of the requirements that are in that sheet. And I would, if you're really thinking about getting the most out of this class, I would absolutely get yourself some kind of pen tablet with a stylus that you can draw directly on. yeah, I mean, that's how the class is going to start. There'll even be more fun stuff we'll be doing afterwards. We'll be working with keyframing and puppeting animation and something called forward kinematics, or maybe even inverse kinematics with 2D sort of puppeted animation. And you can get a lot more done a lot faster that way. But I would like to show both of those two styles of animation and have us work as a group for at least one of the projects. And the rest of it will be the enjoyment of being able to put together your own home studio and continue to animate on your own with exactly what we do throughout the week. So yeah, hopefully that was a good introduction.
Yes, thank you, Chris. Thanks so much. So someone really quick, because this I think will help everyone, was asking about when this software needs to be downloaded, and this will be good for you to know as all of the instructors are talking about it.
Thanks for reading the chat for me. I missed that. That was
Oh, no, that's fine. Most of the software that the instructors are using are offering like 7-day free trials. So we would anticipate not downloading the software until the weekend before the camp starts. And I'm planning to have IT help desk individuals supporting us the Sunday we do that meeting. So in addition to meeting with the instructors, you can also possibly have an IT help desk person help you download the software. So I know some of you are really excited to download it, but it just won't be free that long. I think a lot of the instructors have said it's like 10 to 20 bucks a month. So, I mean, if some of you wanted to download it early and play with it, if you have that accessibility, you can, but I would recommend holding off. One more plug for those of you who are doing possibly the music industry camp or 3D camp only. As you're hearing about these 1-week camps, or excuse me, a lot of them are 1 week now, these session 1 camps, if you're interested in doing one of those as well, you're welcome to, and we give discounts for doing 2 programs. So you'll get a discount if you do more than 1. So you can keep that in mind. Okay, so next we have, I can't remember if Lauren was able to join.
I'm here.
Yay, hi Lauren. Okay, yep, so now we'll have Lauren chat about our Ableton Camp.
All right, so basically, it's going to be a couple hours in the morning, a couple hours in the afternoon. The end goal is to have students create their own composition and their own piece that they can play, regardless of style. But along the way, we'll be doing fun stuff like creating our own samples that we share as a class. We'll do that in like a Dropbox type folder, and everybody can gather samples using their cell phone with apps and stuff like that. I do a lot of that. We'll learn about sound design, creating your own tools. Basically everything that kind of gets you going from like nothing to having a song that you can play. You'll have the skills to be able to produce your own music in the future. We might dive into a little bit of digital DJing as well, stuff like that. The software that we use with Ableton Live Suite, Ableton Live has decided to outdo everybody, and they're giving everybody a 90-day free demo of the Ableton Suite software. So if you want to download it, if you're signing up or thinking about signing up, and you want to download that now, you'll still have that demo working in the future. Now, if you use the demo in the past, like last year, and you're like, well, I can't use it because I've already signed up for the demo, that's not an issue because Ableton has also reset everybody's demo for the email address they're registered, so they can sign up for that demo again for 90 full days. And I'm trying to get all the students to do that in advance because for some reason there's issues. I'm an Ableton certified trainer, so I have contacts directly with Ableton, so I can talk to them directly, and they'll square everything away no matter what you need. Other than that, if you have a controller, that's great. Like I have my studio's a disaster, but I have a keyboard controller, I have an Ableton push controller, stuff like that. You don't need anything fancy or anything at all if you don't have any hardware. It's just an optional thing you can add for programming, but I'll show you how to do all the production that you probably would need just using your laptop. And so, everything else is just sort of an added extra. Other than that, it'll be a lot of fun with sound design, composition, sampling, creating your own drums and stuff like that. So it'll be a great time.
Thank you, Lauren. That's awesome. Okay, and again, we're doing 20 minutes of Q&A at the end. So if specific questions come up, feel free to throw them in the chat, and Lauren can answer directly, or we'll cover them at the end. So we're going to move on to our mural creation camp with Abby. Hey, Abby.
Hey. My name's Abby Gregg, and I'm an instructor of painting and drawing in the College of Arts and Media. And what I think will be really special about the Mural Creations Camp is that while we'll be kind of working on our own in solitude, we will also be working virtually as a community to create a piece of public artwork together. So I'll be working along with Kelly and Dave to basically have a commission for our mural creation students to work together towards a large, ambitious, meaningful piece of artwork. So this sounds really challenging, and please let me know if you guys have any questions about logistics as we get into the Q&A. But the camp will really focus on different techniques and styles of painting, both traditional and contemporary, but also just painting as a language. So painting as a mode of expressing who you are, your story. And I think we all kind of have a lot of feelings right now. So I think this camp should be a way of letting each of us sort of put our story and our meaning into a work of art that's both about community, but also about, you know, really get into it in your home studio. You can see I have this very messy home studio I am zooming out of now. But yeah, I'm really excited about this camp, and I think it'll be a really great opportunity to get your work on a wall in Denver, but also to meet other painters that are really passionate. And one thing that I really want the public artwork to focus on is having each and every camper's ideas and meanings sort of embedded in this sort of larger work of art that should kind of represent us as a community.
Thanks, Abby. I'm so excited about that one. People, please sign up or tell me if we need to move it to July 6th. I will do that. Okay, so next we're going to do comic book character design with Rob. Hey, Rob.
Hey, everyone. I'm Rob Jordan. I'm an illustrator, and I'm going to be teaching the comic book character design class. And we're going to be sort of the goal for the class is going to be to build or to share a skills that'll build on each other throughout the week in terms of designing characters. And so we're going to be working some traditionally on paper, pencil and paper and sketchbooks, and then taking those drawings and taking them into Photoshop and using some methods in Photoshop and teaching some methods in Photoshop of coloring techniques and how to do stuff like that we can build on throughout the week, kind of starting with just basic loose sketches and then building up through, you know, line work and everything like that. And then once we get to the final by the end of the week, we'll have a full color character that each student will have designed. And I'm going to sort of keep it open a little bit. I'm going to give students the option to either design their own character or I'm going to provide a list of characters as well that they can redesign. So yeah, it should be fun. And like Chris, I'm not going to require a drawing tablet, but it would definitely help make the process a little bit easier in terms of rendering and coloring. But I'm also the process I'm going to outline in Photoshop is going to be you can do it with a mouse. And, you know, kind of the paint bucket and the lasso tool and some other things. But it would be definitely helpful to have the tablet, but I don't want to require that, but I'll provide links to that kind of stuff. I do a lot of stuff on my iPad too. If you have a newer iPad, those are super accessible now too. So yeah, should be a fun week.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah.
Awesome. Moving on to photography with Connor. Hey, Connor.
Hello, all. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. So my name's Connor King, and I'm a photo instructor at UC Denver in the CAM department. I've taught there for, I think, 8-ish years, and I also run a video and photo freelance business because I only teach one class a semester. So the rest of my time is dedicated to client work, and I'm a practicing artist too, working mostly in photography. So I think photography spans a lot, and I find that people signing up for a workshop are sometimes very interested in fine art photography, in expressing something in particular, in showing in an art gallery, or maybe being collected in a museum someday. And those folks are mixed in with folks that are interested in journalism or editorial work or commercial photography or something that has more of a scientific slant. And so what I want to do in this week that we have together is to kind of offer a sampling of a lot of different types of photography and genre, and offer some flexibility within each day. So each day would sort of be themed, and within those themes, people could start to kind of get what they want out of the class to some degree. So topics that we would cover would be how to photograph things in an editorial, commercial sense, like food and objects, products, still lives. Also working with portraiture, which is something that in a very traditional sense, portraiture would be of a person that's maybe not you, and you're taking a picture of a person and you're showing their face. But in a broader sense, portraiture can be self-portraiture. It can be something that represents the self. It can be hands or something else that's not just the face. And so I think that the silver lining here is we've got some opportunities to kind of think a little broader about some of the categories of photography that I'd like to cover. Then there are other categories as well, but to try to keep it short, another silver lining here is, and it's been talked about by Dave and Chris, and that you'll have the opportunity to set up a working space wherever you are. And I think that that's actually really nice, because then you're not leaving a camp thinking that you're dependent on gear. Gear can be nice, but it is not required. And I think for all of us that do freelance work, we're always making it work with what we have, and that's a really normal thing. So shooting in natural light, shooting close to windows, shooting maybe outside but close to the house, learning different ways to diffuse lights and manipulate light. We'll be covering all the things we would normally have covered on ground, talking about how cameras work, looking at artists, critiquing work. All of that would be done digitally anyway. And teaching online does offer the opportunity of sharing screens. So if we're in Photoshop and someone has a question, everybody can kind of look at that issue and we can troubleshoot it together, where that would actually be difficult on ground to huddle around one person's screen. As far as requirements go, you'll need a camera. It would be great if you had a digital camera, so a DSLR camera. That's going to be a camera where the lens comes off, but that is not required. Really, any digital camera is going to work. There'll be benefits to a DSLR camera, but that's not a must. And then we'll be working on retouching and building images in Adobe's Photoshop. So Photoshop is a 7-day free trial. If you don't have access to it, it's a 7-day free trial. So hold off on that, and we'll get y'all squared away with that just before the camp starts. And then of course you'll need a computer that can run Photoshop and some hard drive space to store your images.
Great, thank you, Connor. That's perfect.
Okay, great.
That's wonderful. Okay, so next we're going to move on to our music industry camp. I'm going to start by having our academic director of that camp, Owen Quartz, just kind of give an overview. And then for my music instructors that are able to join us today, thank you so much. I just need like real quick snippets of the class you were going to offer. I don't need quite as long. As a reminder for music industry students, we have had to update the preferences. We're likely going to offer 2 options in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, you will only be doing 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. The 4 that are currently in the lead, just for those of you who are on here and want to know, would be songwriting, music business, mixing and mastering in a home studio, and voice, and then possibly music theory. Some students were looking into music theory. So that doesn't mean things can't change. Dave and I are waiting a full another week to see what the rest of students are interested in. But I just wanted to give students kind of a heads up, and we will re-email you, okay, these are the options. This is what we've placed you in based on your first 2 picks. Is that still what you want, or did you want a different option? So I just want to go ahead and preface that. So again, I'm going to turn it over to Owen, and then my other music industry faculty, you can just jump in and give a quick plug to the class you were going to offer. So Owen.
Hi, everybody. My name is Owen Quartz, and I am heading up the songwriting stuff at the LYNX camp, as well as kind of overseeing the academic portion for the music stuff. So to give you an overview of what we're doing, it's very oriented towards your career, of course. So we really want to get from A to Z when it comes to what you want to be doing for your career. We're very student focused, which just means that we really want to hear about what your goals are and do our best to help you achieve that. These programs that we have available for you this summer, I think, are our core when it comes to the stuff that we usually offer through the regular camps. So I think this is actually really cool that it's paring us down to our core, and we're able to offer the heart of what we usually would offer anyway. Our faculty are incredible. We have so much experience from the faculty, and I think when it comes to their relatability, I mean, you'll hear from them here in just a second, but they're just awesome people. And we just love the community element that comes together as we do the camps, and I think the online thing will work just as well for that. When it comes to creating that community, I mean, I've been amazed with my students so far, just that through the college classes that I'm teaching, and how much we've been able to connect with each other when it comes to even through these online platforms, and just the heart that comes through in that. So when it comes to the songwriting stuff in particular, I'll just speak so briefly and then pass it on to the other faculty. But in the songwriting class, you can expect a lot of very craft-oriented things when it comes to lyrics. You know, I mean, we get into some deeper rhyme scheme type of things, looking at form and your different form options within songwriting. We touch base on melody writing and doing a lot of analysis of pop songs. And we really use a lot of student examples, and we really focus that around stuff that's very current and very much in your iPod right now. Even using the word iPod is not current, so scratch that. But that's why we rely on student songs right there. But the analysis process is the thing that allows us to stay really up to date with just what is working in the pop industry right now. And so we have a lot of fun with that. The afternoon is the singer-songwriter ensemble, and so that's the opportunity for students to actually share their songs. And really, there will be writing assignments in the first class of the day through the songwriting class, but then in the afternoon, it's really having students share their songs in total, and then getting feedback on that from their peers, getting feedback on that from either me or whatever faculty we end up having involved in the afternoon. We're just trying to sort out whether I'm going to teach the morning class or the afternoon, and whether we're going to have some other amazing faculty kind of join us, and TAs for that matter too. And this is the really cool part, is that in the probably both sections of the day, we're going to have some of our top students from the program be involved, our songwriters, and they're going to get to share from just being a few years ahead of you all who are coming into the camps, what they've been able to accomplish through the program. And they're great teachers and great people as well. So I think that's what I have to share from the songwriting and just the overview of the music industry program. Happy to answer questions later, but let's pass it on to some of our other faculty.
Here, I could jump in. Hi, my name is Storm, and I am an associate professor at CU Denver in the College of Arts and Media, where I teach music marketing and a course on the Beatles, and oversee the internships, and also teach a class called Music Cities, one of only 3 classes in the entire world that I started 5 years ago. I'm also the immediate past president of the International Music Educators Association, And I've been teaching on Zoom. I've actually been webcasting my classes and live streaming them for 7 years now through Zoom. So this is old hat to me. And I'm really looking forward to just going through one stream now for the camp. There's no software you need to study the music business, although we'll be referring to a lot of things, a lot of content on the web, and that's about all you need. In the course, I'll be covering an overview of the music industry, but we'll be particularly during the week focusing on careers in the music industry. And we'll be talking a lot about the future of the music industry. I would say that if those are the two key focuses of what we'll be covering in a very complex industry that's challenging to cover for a week, I think that's the best value for anyone at this stage. And it's going to be pretty straightforward, and I'm looking forward to working with you all.
Thanks, Storm. Hey, Todd, let's have you jump in next. We might end up running a couple recording arts ones, so just as fast as possible. I also know Aaron's not able to join us, so I'm sure you could chat a little bit about like him doing the mixing and mastering at home in his home studio and how he might be able to cover it. If you can, if not, I can, but if you want to cover the audio production stuff.
So you did say Todd, right?
Yeah, Todd.
Yeah. So my name is Todd Reed. I'm the percussion area coordinator and the head of the electronic digital instrument area in the College of Arts and Media. So I'll be teaching the mobile device ensemble. So this will kind of piggyback on what Lauren talked about using Ableton Live software. And I did put a link to it in the chat where you can download it. It is a 90-day free trial. So I encourage you, if you're going to be a part of this, to go ahead and download that. You will need that software. And we're going to concentrate more on a performance side, although we will certainly get into doing some sampling of everyday objects that you find around your house or outside and using them in sound design. But I really want to focus on having students work together to create pieces, typically in pairs. We'll also likely take some audio stems, maybe from a pop song, and each create a new piece of music with those and present them to each other. So I do totally look forward to working with you, and I will pass it off from there. Thank you.
If you don't mind, I could jump in.
Yeah.
This is Leslie Soich. Sorry, that is not what is on my screen, so I'm not sure if you can see it's me or not by my name there. But I am Leslie Soich. I am the commercial voice program director here at CU Denver, and I will be leading 2 elective options for voice classes in the morning. Voice class 1 would be a more basic fundamentals with coaching, a lot of video and recording and coaching from the instructor, as well as collaborative and feedback from other students. Our voice class 2 option in the morning is a little more advanced. It's intended to be more of a commercial styles study class. So we would be doing more about certain vocal genres, but also getting some basics in vocal instruction. So both of them would include fundamental vocal technique, but one is intended to be a little bit more basic, and the second would be a little bit more advanced in commercial styles. We'll also be offering a vocal ensemble in the afternoon, which will be some instruction and end with, we hope, a virtual collaborative online choir or a cappella piece. So that would be our capstone and end result for doing a collaborative piece with everybody who joins in the vocal ensemble in the afternoon. So that's it for the voice side.
Thanks, Leslie.
You bet.
Hey, Paul, you just want to give a quick plug for yours? Oh, I'm trying to unmute you, Paul. Oh, there. Okay. There, go.
I'm Paul Musa. I'm the program director for the performance area at MEIS, and I'm teaching the music theory fundamentals class. The software that you would need is MuseScore. It's free, it's open source, it's really fun to use. It's a notation software. I'll send the link right now. I promise it's going to be fun. I know how to make music theory fun and interactive and collaborative. Yeah, trust me, I've been doing this a long time. You'll love it.
Awesome, thanks, Paul. Mainly because those were the 5 that we're thinking of offering, and we're running kind of short on time. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to animation and film, and then we can come back and, you know, answer any other questions related to music if we missed anyone. So sorry if other instructors are joining us. I apologize. I just want to save time for everyone. So Michelle, can you jump in real quick and chat about the animation design course?
I surely can. I'm going to share my screen if it were. Oh, I can't. You're going to share, make me a host, aren't you?
Hold on, let me, I'll make you a co-host really quick.
Thank you. So my name is Michelle Carpenter, and I'm an associate professor, and I teach in the digital design area. I'm also chair of the visual arts department. And I'm going to be teaching with a co-teacher named Jeremy Brown, and we're going to be doing aspects of both 2D and 3D animation. And oh yay, so life is good. I'm going to share my messy desktop with you and my carrots. So anyways, we're going to be working with doing some vector animation using Adobe Animate. We're also going to be looking at this other super cool software. So this is really fun. We had typically used Adobe After Effects, but it was a little too complex. But we're going to be using Adobe Animate, and then we're also going to be using this Sculpt GL, which is kind of cool because it's this interactive software that just basically works, and you can start to sculpt right in real time with these objects, which is pretty fun. So we'll be working with this in a much more deeper way, but it should be a really fun camp where we learn skills, we work in the morning, we work synchronously. So you'll be logging in with us, we'll be learning skills together, then you'll work a little bit and come back, do a little more synchronous with us, go back, play a little bit more, work on some skills, and then in the afternoon, you'll switch from 2D to 3D. So it's gonna be a really, really fun camp. I think this will be my 4th year teaching summer camp, and I've been teaching, oh gosh, forever, since like 1991. So I've been teaching a long time, and I love it.
Thank you, Michelle. Andrew and Hans, I don't know if you all are piggybacking or who wants to jump in, but Andrew and Hans for film.
Hey, this is Hans here. As Andrew, I think you're there too. We can take turns. How's it going? My name is Hans Rosenwinkel, nice German name, and I'm a producer, cinematographer, editor, associate professor in the film and TV department, and we're the 2-week version of this because there's a lot to do, because you guys will have the experience to conceptualize a story premise. I'm going to the scripting process, then from there going into the pre-production aspect of filmmaking to prepare for your filming needs, and then there's an actual hands-on component, filming, and then from there the post-production editing phase. So that extra time is needed for you to go through those different processes, and tons of technology and free software and some other opportunities for variations that you can choose from that we will provide and suggest. There includes a script writing software called Celtics that's free that anyone can use. Pre-production software for visualization that Andrew can talk about as well for storyboarding, and also creating shot lists. And then from there, though we prefer to use our cameras from our film cage, but there's some really cool apps out there that you can use on an iPhone or other devices like Androids and what have you to basically simulate a cinematic experience that a higher end camera can actually do with all the technical tricks of the trade. And then of course, post-production editing, like everyone already talked about Adobe, we use Adobe Premiere. That's a 7-day free trial. There's free ones, which is pretty awesome, called Resolve, made by DaVinci, which is free software and pretty incredible for free. Works both on the PC and Mac platforms. So we have tons of great technology to work with, if not for free, at a very small cost if you choose to do that. Andrew, you can add.
Yeah, just to follow up what Hans is saying, Andrew Bateman, I'm an instructor at CU Denver, and this is the 3rd year that'll be doing LYNX Camp, and it should be pretty much the same as we've done in years past. The technology, like Hans just mentioned, there's a great software. It's open source as well, so it's free, called Storyboarder, which is absolutely amazing. And so there'll be a lot of collaborative work, but also Hans and I are anywhere you're at sort of with technology, we'll work with you so you can tell a story, and a really good story is at that. So we'll spend time on developing the scripts and the previs, what Hans is talking about. And one kind of nice benefit of having this thing happen in the middle of the semester, I teach the production 1 class and the production 2 class. And so they weren't able to use the gear that we have at school. And so I've sort of run through this already right now. And the work that they're producing is absolutely amazing. And it's really inspiring to me as an instructor to see what they're doing. So I have no doubt. And one of the students who's in my production 1 class went through LYNX Camp last year, which I think Andrew is familiar with. Anyways, it's really inspiring. So if you actually want to see any of the work that they're producing, I'm more than happy to share with you because you all have the same technology. And then one last thing, my girlfriend's son is in the 7th grade. And so actually he's sort of being the guinea pig for me right now to test some of this technology out, especially the editing software and the camera and stuff like that. So, yeah.
And I can add to that, I forgot to mention the app that we like for, at least phones and other devices is called Filmic, Filmic Pro. And that costs $14 or whatever, $14.99, $15, not a bad price. And there's other ones out there like that. But for a cheap app, it does a pretty darn good job and sort of simulates a true, film camera, high-end digital camera experience. And I just finished my cinematography class. Today we did final presentations on Zoom. And you know what? They did the same thing. They did most of the semester using our high-end production gear, but then they had to finish their final projects on the same sort of process that we will do over the summer. And they learned how to tell a story and be really creative with sort of these opportunities, technical opportunities. And you know what? I was super impressed, like Andrew was saying, with the work and the quality that comes out of that. And you guys will get that same experience this summer.
Awesome. Again, thank you to the instructors. As you can all tell, it's still going to be an awesome camp virtually, and it's because they've put together these amazing programs for you. So I apologize. We are so close on time. Anyone that has to leave at 7, feel free to leave, and I'm going to be able to send out most of the answers to any questions that come up via email. But we'll just keep going with questions that people have. So we're going to jump into the Q&A part. One question that just came up, and thank you so much, Tana, for asking this. This is really important. Everyone will want to know is kind of what is this schedule going to look like? So we don't expect you to just be sitting on your computer staring at a Zoom all day at all. The plan is really, sometime in the morning. Every instructor will have it a little bit different, 9, maybe 10, possibly 10. The instructor will have the students log on and they'll do a quick info session or like class presentation time with them for maybe around an hour. Some of it could be them presenting slides. Some of it could be Zoom with breakout sessions. It'll just be giving them the skills and knowledge that they need for the rest of the day to work on that task for the day. And then likely the students will go have some individual work time. There will always be an hour break for lunch around lunchtime. Again, we're anticipating around 2 hours of free individual work time that the student will have. And then they'll log back on and have an opportunity in the afternoon to share out what they've been working on, either as a group with peers or to check in with the instructor and or TAs that we'll have for the camp as well, who are current college students in the program. So they'll be getting that feedback and they'll be able to engage with other students. So again, it's like log on, instruction time, lunch, individual work time, log back on, share out. And the dates of the camp are the 8th through the 12th are those 5 programs, session 1. So Monday through Friday. Music is also just Monday through Friday. Well, technically all of them are. The film is just 2 weeks, but it's still just Monday through Friday. Keeping in mind our music industry camp, we are hoping to have some guest artists in the evening. And we're still kind of looking at maybe 4 to 5. Is that right, Dave, in terms of timing?
No, they would be optional. And my thought is that they would probably be in the evening, more like 7 o'clock or something like that for an hour. And usually how we do our music guest artists, they play songs for about a half an hour. And then they do exactly what we're doing here, where they all stop and they answer student questions. So they try to have a part of it that's really engaging. But those would be entirely optional. So the students wouldn't have to do that unless they want to. But we're going to we always get some cool guest artists. So I'm sure a lot of the students would want to join in on that. But also just back to what Kelly was saying about the times, I would say for now, reserve 9 till 4 every day. The students can reserve 9 till 4 on each of those weekdays of the camp to work on camp stuff. And then the instructors on an individual basis, like that Sunday before the camp, can kind of give more idea on that, on when during the day they'd be doing different things.
Great. So I have a question for Andrew and Hans really quick. One of the students was just asking kind of how the filmmaking process will go. So I know they've talked a little bit about the big goals, but if you all could just walk through like really quickly. I will answer for the student, you're not making a group film anymore. You're really doing it in an individual film. So that's what, like, if you've been to camp before, don't think about the old camp films. Think about this as a new opportunity of how to make a film by yourself at home. So Hans and Andrew, do you want to add to that?
Go ahead, Andrew, if you want first, otherwise.
Yeah, so the main thing with any film is that you need the idea, right? So part of the first part of the camp, we'll talk about sort of coming up with story ideas and then writing scripts and workshopping those scripts with each other, giving feedback, doing a revision, coming back, right, making it so it's to the point where you can produce it, and then going through the pre-production, so all the pre-visualization of creating shot lists and storyboards, overhead floor plans. And then also Hans, you're lucky Hans is a great cinematographer and teaches a cinematography class. So even using practical lighting to how you're going to shoot this, how you're going to cover it, talking about production design. But it's going to be, you'll be making your own film with the people who are around you, your family, things like this. Hans, do you want to sort of continue from there?
Yeah, I'll just add on. I mean, as far as the idea, just finished a whole class, like we were saying, with it was designed to be in groups, and some students did that remotely during this pandemic time, and others did it individually. But there are ways that we can actually, there's servers out there called OneDrive through, which is basically, I think, free access up to a terabyte or more. We can actually share footage. So there's ways to work with partners perhaps and share individual footage if need be, and or go individual on your own. And so basically it's whatever you pitch to us, and we work with you to modify that based upon your story interests, whether it's fiction or nonfiction driven or something more visually driven. It's sort of open-ended, but we'll have criteria specifically for that for you to realistically pull that off, with all the phases of pre-production, production, and post-production, with deadlines and time parameters related to that.
And just to follow up with Hans too, is that, yeah, there's a room for all kinds of storytelling here. So in the production one class this semester, we have some students that were making sort of traditional fictional narrative films, others doing documentary, a lot of stop motion animation. There's just been just the creativity is really impressive. And so our job is to try to help you foster that creativity and tell your story through the technical means.
Thank you guys. Real quick, I know Ryan had asked, in case people didn't see, are there any music industry classes that could fill? Yes, absolutely. That is a possibility. That, not the music camp itself. I mean, I think we'll have a lot of room for the music camp to fill, but for example, Leslie's a cappella group can't be 20 students probably. So yeah, some will have limits for sure. And then also wanted to answer Sam's question about, will there be a chance for the students in the field program to get to know each other? Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. They'll have you get to know one another so that you can hopefully collaborate in the future.
And I just want to jump in on that. That's a big part of the camp, right? Is that's what we talked about at the beginning. That was what always makes the LYNX camp so special, is the students that you're getting to meet and these connections you're making and with people with similar interests. And that part of the camp is going to be there in all of these programs. And our hope is that you're making these connections with people with similar interests to you. From one of the cool things about it this summer is, like, all over the country, right? People can do this from anywhere. We have a student that's looking to do our music industry camp from Turkey. So, it'll be in the middle of the night there, but she's like super excited about it. So you're going to get to make connections with people from all over the place. And all the instructors know that that's a big mission of the camps. So they're going to make sure in their own ways, find ways for you all to collaborate and get to know each other.
Yeah, on that note, if you all have friends or family members that are your age that live in a different state that maybe wouldn't have originally done a camp because they didn't want to come, let them know about this opportunity. We're so excited about the positives that can come out of this, such as giving access to students who wouldn't normally be able to do a 1-week camp because they'd have to commute. So for sure, share the love. Let's see, I've got another question that just came in. Yeah, will students have the opportunity to talk with the teachers about college program? Yeah, definitely. The instructors kind of embed that into their curriculum, is talking about how this can be applied to real life and to what they would study in our programs as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you're not getting enough, I think most of the instructors would find a time to have a one-on-one chat with you or with you and your parents. Also, Kelly and I, in addition to running the LYNX camps, we do the recruitment for the College of Arts and Media. So we know a lot of our programs inside and out, know the application process, what the CU Denver culture is like, housing questions, all that kind of stuff. And we're always happy to answer those questions and, meet with you all individually through the phone or Zoom or whatever you want.
Dave, will you field the next one about how normally for students who aren't familiar with this, at the music industry camp, our juniors or seniors are able to audition to come to school here. So a mom was asking about that.
That's a great question, and the answer to that is I don't know yet. That's one thing that we haven't got to is if that would still be an option for families at the LYNX camp. My inclination though is yes, most likely if the instructors say Leslie's does our voice auditions and she's also teaching at the camp. My thought is that she could either, if she isn't able to know directly from working with the student in the camp, they would find a time, maybe half an hour one day after the camp where the student could just go and get their audition out of the way. Or same with Owen for the singer-songwriter program or our other faculty that do auditions for different areas. If at all possible, we'll try to make that work.
Andrew and Hans, are you all watching the chat? Did you see the question that just came in about a specific type of filmmaking? If you want to type back in, that'd be great. And yeah, those of you that have to run, thank you again so much for joining us. I'll give another quick plug. If you want to do more than one program, you can. You get $50 off per program. So I know some of you are like, at least this is, maybe you just heard another instructor's camp and you want to do theirs as well. Any other questions we can?
Yeah, Kelly and I are fine to stay on a little longer and keep answering questions if people have them that they didn't get answered yet. But yeah, definitely for our instructors or anyone who has to go, has things to do, feel free to head out if you'd like.
Yeah, and I already know some of our instructors have had to leave, and if we get a question, we'll reach out to them to get the specific answer. And just so I know, I think it was Tana maybe who had asked the question, the links on the 2D animation PDF weren't working. They are working on my Word doc, but of course I'm having issues updating the website right now, so I'll get it updated tomorrow. So everyone that was interested in the 2D animation camp, Chris put the links in the chat, but if you missed that, I'll also update that on the website tomorrow. It's so good to see everyone.
You might have to scroll back a while to find those, but I did put a little heading, 2D animation in front of all of them. Well, thanks everybody. I have to get out of here. I'm looking forward to animating with you guys. Bye.
Hans, do you want to answer that question? He's here. Still. Well, I mean, is it Alex? I mean, I think there's room to work with you, sort of where you're at and what you want to do. One, I think, important thing with film is to go through the storytelling and the script writing. So that's going to be the first part of the camp. And so if you're taking a film, I think it's great. We actually brought a guest speaker in to my documentary class that just took YouTube clips. His name is David Shields, who's a pretty well-known writer. Anyways, all YouTube clips about a documentary about Marshawn Lynch that's doing really well. So it's all just clips from YouTube. So I think it's about going through the process, the pre-production process, but then really working with you and what you want to do. So I mean, I talked to Hans about it, but I wouldn't imagine why not.
And Andrew, really quick, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Astrid just joined and was asking if the film camp is for beginners or experienced. And I really think Andrew and Hans are great instructors and can kind of meet you at your level. Would that be correct?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. And like I was saying, like we've been doing this storyboarder program. You don't need to draw a lick at all. I can't draw a stick figure. And you can do amazing 3D animation with it. For storyboard, shot, reverse shot. You actually can learn a lot of the camera, sort of what lenses are and what shots, like medium shot, close-ups, all just from this application. And yeah, no experience at all. I was, like I was saying, I was working with the 7th grader and just going through the whole thing and picking up pretty quickly. So I'm actually really stoked about that application and working with you all to tell story, basically.
I just saw Roma's on here, and she's on here as a mom this time and not an instructor. Hi, Roma. Roma used to teach our filmmaking camp, and it's so good to see you as mom version.
Yeah, I'm at the other side of the table.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to jump in and just say is, if you haven't registered for the camp yet, or you have another program you want to register for, we'd appreciate it if you could try to do it by May 15th. It's really helpful for us as we're starting to try to get our numbers and plan to kind of get a sense of how many students are going to be in each program. So the earlier you can register, the better. We're probably going to allow registrations as long as programs are open, definitely through the end of the month until June 1st. But the earlier you can let us know, the better if you're planning to do one of the programs just for planning purposes.
Yeah. Any other questions we can answer? All right. Awesome.
Looks like a question just came in from Brian.
Yeah.
If we register for more than one program, but would probably just do one we applied for, a scholarship, how would that work?
Yeah, I can answer that. So, because this might apply to some other people. So people who applied for a scholarship and applied for more than one program, I'm sending you an email with your updated cost for both, essentially. And you're welcome to email me back and say, well, what I'll do is I'll give an updated cost. And if you email me back and want to do just one program, I can change the scholarship. It's obviously more affordable to just do one program. So I've actually been working with one family right now kind of on that. So just know, I'll send you the cost for both programs. But if for some reason with that up, once you receive that scholarship award, if it's too much, then you can reply back, what would it look like for just this program, and I'll work with you and your family.
Cool.
I just wanted to reiterate really quick too about the collaborative effort, the film program. There is going to be plenty of opportunity to work together and get to know each other. And Zoom has the breakout rooms, which is going to be awesome, that we can put you in. You can get to know each other. Have space in there just with the other students as well to work on like feedback on a script, whatever it might be, or even previs on storyboards. And then, you come back into the main room and Hans and I can work with you too. So. Yeah. And also I want to say nice shirt, Andrew. I like
it. Yeah. Andrew's wearing his LYNX Camp shirt. We had a quick question around our character design camp and I think it's probably the 2D animation camp that James is referring to, but working with people who may, be struggling with the craft. Really all of our instructors are prepared to help students who aren't experienced in it. But Rob, or I can't tell if Chris had to leave or not. Let me see. I think he had to leave. But Rob, if you want to chat to that at all, like supporting students who aren't as experienced in character design.
Oh yeah, there's no skill level requirement at all for the class. I'm totally expecting all levels of skill. So really everything is, the main focus is just going to be to have fun and get everybody working on something they're really excited about. And so whether you've been drawing for a long time, you've been designing your own characters for a long time, or you've never even picked up a comic book before and you're just interested in it. The whole course is going to be, there's going to be a lot of one-on-one individual instruction. And so really, if you've never even drawn a stick figure before, everything's going to be catered towards all skill levels. So that's not a problem at all.
And that, I would say that's one of the other things that in the past, like people have really loved about the LYNX Camp is just that they're open to everyone. You know, our instructors really are able to help the students that are just barely learning this to also the students that have been doing it for a little while. Like they can challenge them in a lot of different ways. And we really make a point to make sure that our camps aren't competitive. We don't want students comparing themselves to each other or feeling bad because feel like other people are better than them in the program. We really talk to everyone ahead of time and really ensure that no matter what level you're at, the goal of the LYNX Camp is to improve. We don't have grades. This is all about you having fun, learning, being collaborative and growing. That's the mission of the camp and what we do. So if you are feeling nervous or worried that maybe your skill level wouldn't be up to the level of some of the other students that are doing your program, or intimidated or anything, please don't be. We will make sure that that's nothing that you have to worry about.
Lauren, we did have a quick question though, of course, asking about skill level, even though we were kind of just addressing that, but they were asking about Ableton specifically. So can you speak to that?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear.
Sorry, I've been messing with computers and I had one die on me, so I've been messing with that right now. But basically, people show up to even college level class with a wide variety of skills in Ableton Live, and I tried to cater to people that had some experience and people that had zero experience. So if someone's had zero experience, they will be perfectly fine. If someone has some experience, I will make sure that they're not bored. So I teach basically some beginning get up and running, and then I dive in and say, well, if you know how to get up and running, this is the next step of what you can do on top of that. So there's always gonna be stuff for all like beginning and intermediate skill levels for sure. But if nobody has any skill with Ableton Live at all, that's perfect. If they have some skills, that's great too.
Thanks.
And I don't know if Kimberly, if you had joined us a little late and missed the beginning when we went over all the programs, but as Kelly said, all the programs are listed on our website. We have, for each one, you can click on it and really look at what the instructors are planning to do and the requirements and all that. If you have any questions, individual questions about individual programs, feel free to email Kelly and I, or we're happy to answer all the questions you have on a more individual basis if you like. And then I see.
Yeah, we'll just have Astrid's question be our last one, and then we'll go ahead and sign off. But Astrid, it sounds like the filmmaking instructors are really going to meet you with the level of equipment you have, but utilizing like your phone to be able to do some recording on your phone, practicing writing scripts, coming up with stories. So possibly utilizing a computer for some editing as well. But it's totally okay that you don't have a camera at home. We are assuming everyone does not really have film equipment at home, so it's no problem.
Yeah, we'll work with you, Astrid. And even with lighting, we all have light bulbs at home, hopefully, and then overhead lights, windows, and like Connor was talking about how to diffuse light, real easy ways to make your image look really nice. So, and the worst comes to worst, we even have Zoom you can record. I've had students in my production 2 class using Zoom to actually make their film with. So there's lots of possibility.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for joining. Again, please feel free. Andrew, I'm so glad you joined. It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for joining. Yes, please feel free to reach out with any questions. I'll probably be doing some follow-up in regards to possibly having, the mural creation one during a different week. But thank you. So good to see everyone. And reach out to Dave and I with any other questions. Please try to apply by May 15th if you haven't applied yet.
And Kimberly, if you did sign on late and you have some individual questions, I'm happy to stay on and answer questions that you may have.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thanks, Abby.
Thank you.
Bye, Andrew. So good to see you. So glad you're still doing camp.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
And yeah, that goes for anyone else too who may have popped on late and wants to just stick around and talk. We're happy to.
Yeah, Kim, what's up? Do you want to unmute yourself now since there's not that many people? You're welcome to even unmute and just ask.
Hi, Willa.
Hi, Willa.